Welcome to your Sprinkle with Hope podcast. I'm your host, Shane. Today, our guest is Mandy Hale. We love talking to people like Mandy who have gone through some hard things and learned some things, but then open themselves up. We love the vulnerability that people are willing to share with the world. This is such a great opportunity for Jason and I to speak with a guest like Mandy and hope that you really listen into what she's saying and take it to heart.
Shane and I really do love connecting with anybody, really, that has this message like this. But we really did enjoy our time getting to know Mandy a little bit more, hear some of the things that she has dealt with and kind of what drove her to write some of these books that she has, which really have helped millions of people to get out of situations where they felt stuck or felt trapped and weren't sure how to deal with relationships or be on their own even. But, her most popular book, You Are Enough, Shane and I have been speaking that for now just over 2 years, that you are enough. You are capable of accomplishing whatever it is you put forth. So it was such a pleasure for me to talk to her about worth and self-worth, just because it's been Shane and I's mantra for so long. And so just know that from Shane and I to you, you are worthy, you are enough, you are valued. We see you, we notice you, and we surely do appreciate you. So here we go with Mandy Hale.
Welcome to the Sprinkled with Hope podcast. This is Jason. And this is Shane. And it's podcast time.
Welcome to your Sprinkle with Hope podcast and your host, Shane. Today, we're super excited to welcome our guest, Mandy Hale. She is a blogger that turned New York Times bestseller. She's also created the social media movement called The Single Woman. We'll talk a little bit about that. And she's written 5 books, and 6th is on the way. I think it'll be out this year.
It's out.
Oh, it's out.
It's out.
Awesome.
My apologies. So six books.
Yeah.
Mandy, thank you so much for joining us. We're really excited for this discussion.
Thank you so much for inviting me to join you. I'm
So
excited to be here.
Let's talk about why you started The Single Woman, kind of the premise of that, and why Mandy started that.
Yeah, well, that was, around 2010. I had actually just gotten out of a really unhealthy relationship, unhealthy in many respects, and was newly single, feeling, empowered in my singleness, and also wanting to just kind of write more creatively, because at the time I was working full-time in public relations. And so I set a New Year's resolution for myself, possibly the only one I've ever kept, that year to write more creatively on the side. And so I started looking around and just kind of looking for anyone else out there who was writing about singleness in a positive, healthy, funny, real way. And nobody was. So I said, hey, okay, well, I'll take up the mantle. And I did. And I started the blog and just really started sharing my experiences as a single woman. And then kind of just as a fluke, started a Twitter page to kind of help promote the blog, and it just exploded and was really just kind of tweeting out, positive, encouraging, inspirational messages. Twitter was a very different place back then. It was all like happy and joy and light and butterflies and rainbows and puppies and kittens. So yeah, it just really grew from there. And then from there, I built out all the other social media platforms, and then was approached by a publisher who actually discovered me on Twitter to turn my blog into a book. And here we are 6 books later. But it was really just born out of a need that wasn't being met, because I'm a single woman. And I was like, I want to read about singleness in a way that's not depressing and discouraging and hopeless. And nobody's writing about it in a positive way. So I'm going to do it. And yeah, and even all these years later, still nobody's really writing about it in a positive way except for me. So it's definitely a need that needed to be met, and I hope that I'm able to do that with what I'm doing.
I love that what you were talking about, that you know, you feel like you're the only one that's making this positive message, and that's really something that we need more of, right? More
Right.
positivity and less. So how have you kind of seen your influence in this positive way kind of change or affect others in that, you know, in a positive direction?
Well, I mean, it's been a huge response. You know, and I don't say that like in a, you know,
Right.
braggy way,
Right.
but I think women are just, and men, I have both, you know, women and men following me, of course, primarily women as I am the single woman. But you know, just people sort of flock to the messaging. I have around 4 million followers around the world, all told, across all my platforms and my website, my newsletter, and all the things. So yeah, it's just I've just continued to see over the last, you know, now it's been, gosh, 13 years, I guess. Wow, I've been doing this for 13 years. That's insane. I've just continued to see the momentum grow, and I've definitely seen my audience change and evolve. I mean, I've changed and evolved. I am still single. That was not the plan, but here we are. But a lot of my audience, my following might have become my friends, and a lot of them have, you know, gotten married and had families, and they've stayed connected, and it's just become this really beautiful thing where people come, not just single people anymore, but people come who just kind of want to be seen and want to be met where they're at and welcomed and loved and valued and encouraged to just be themselves and to love themselves. And yeah, it's been such a joy to see it grow and evolve over the last 13 years.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
We love stories like this where what any one of us can go through a tough thing
Mhm.
and we turn around, open ourselves up, start talking to people, and then then you have 4 million followers. That is amazing that you're really now their light and their beacon of hope and all of those things that they're looking for. So Mandy, we actually came up with an acronym HOPE, HOPE, and the E stands for enough.
Mhm.
And that really ties into a book you wrote about that's titled You Are Enough.
Yeah.
So I'm curious to pick your brain a little bit. What do you mean by that? Like when we talk about enough, what does that mean?
I think for me, it means just accepting that who I am is, you're worthy. I mean, you're a human being. Your worthiness is inherent. You don't have to earn it. You don't have to, you know, prove yourself to anyone. You don't have to, you know, scratch and claw and scrap for your worthiness and your enoughness. You already are just because you exist. And, you know, I definitely, that book, You Are Enough, was written out of a season of where I was struggling to really grasp that I was enough. And I was really battling, you know, a lot of anxiety, a lot of depression. I talk very openly about my mental health, you know, struggles over the years in that book. And yeah, I mean, for me, it took a lot of therapy and a lot of, you know, self-reflection and a lot of healing for me to finally come to the place of acceptance of, hey, you know what, you are enough. And it doesn't matter what the world says or what the guy on the dating app says or what, you know, what anybody says. You are enough just as you are. And yes, of course, we should always be, you know, be working to continue to grow and evolve and to get better and improve. But all that said, you know, self-improvement can easily turn into this sort of endless cycle of where you feel like you're just always seeking this goal and you're never
Right.
quite there. You have to wait till you're perfect to be in a relationship, to, you know, to do all the different things. And I think just accepting that, hey, I mean, yeah, obviously we all want to continue to work on ourselves and grow and evolve and change, but even if you never change a thing, you're amazing and you're beautiful and you're worthy just as you are. And I don't know, I've found that when I really allow myself to embrace and accept that message, that actually allows me to make positive changes easier, because I realize,
Right.
hey, I don't have to like scratch and claw just to be, I'm already worthy. So now anything I add on top of that, that's just the cherry on top of the sundae.
I love what you're talking about. And I think oftentimes, people look at somebody and say, oh, they've never had any issues, right? They've never had any self-worth or, doubt themselves ever. And I think there's a false narrative in there,
There
um,
is.
where, we all struggle with these things. We all have at certain times. Oftentimes even people that work in the self-improvement, self-development world, they struggle with these things on the daily, right? They just don't let it control their life.
I mean, a great example of that here recently was, Twitch, Stephen Boss. And, he was this bright, shining light on the
Yeah,
surface. And then,
right.
he was clearly struggling. And I've actually gone back, because I always love to watch his dance videos and him and his wife,
Right.
their beautiful family, and they just look so happy. But I've gone back and looked at his photos, and if you really really look, you see there's just this deep sadness in his eyes. Even in pictures when he's smiling, you can see that he is carrying the
Yep.
weight of the world, because everything is the truth shines through the eyes. And I think that's such a great example, because everybody was like, I don't understand, he had everything, he had this great job and this perfect family, and he was so talented. And but none of that really matters if
Right.
you are battling mental illness and battling depression, and struggling to even believe that you are a worthy human. There's really nobody who can really, nothing, no achievement can convince you of that.
Right.
I think that that's a really, really tragic, heartbreaking example. And I think that it's something for all of us to remember, like people can look perfectly fine on the outside. Like a few hours before he was gone, he was posting, these happy dance videos, and then he was
Yep.
gone. And so it's just such a stark but important reminder that, hey, check in with people, check in with yourself. Um, Even check in with people who you think are strong and happy and have it
Yep.
all together, because usually those people, I've found that the brightest lights are usually battling the, the most intense darkness. And I've really been proud of the book You Are Enough. It was the book that I wrote in the darkest place that I've probably ever been in my life, but it's actually ended up being one of my most popular books. And, I have a tattoo on my wrist that says enough, and it has inspired, I can't even tell you how many people I've heard from that have gotten the enough tattoo, or the You Are Enough. It's like a club that was started from that book and from that movement of just like, just stepping into your worth and just owning it and saying, you know what, I am enough, and I'm not going to doubt that anymore, and I'm not going to let anyone tell me otherwise. So that's been something that I've been really proud of, just to see the response to that, because you never know when you share these dark moments if it's going to be too much. It makes you feel very
Right.
vulnerable. Is anyone going to connect with this at all? But usually those are the stories that people connect with the most, I've found.
Yeah, that's so
So
true.
true.
Yeah.
I really love what you're saying. And I love that you said we have to check in with ourselves.
Mhm.
I think sometimes we forget that we're supposed to see how we're doing. A lot of
Yeah.
the times we want to look out and help other people, but we also have to be willing to help ourselves first before we can reach out. So you've written all these books. I'm just curious. I mean, that's quite the accomplishment. I'm curious, what are there things that you're working on now, or what's keeping you busy right now?
Yeah, well, I was telling you guys before we started rolling that I have started a new venture in real estate. So I've been working doing that, which has actually been this really beautiful extension of everything that I'm already doing, because I've found that real estate is really about relationships and connecting with people and helping people. And for me, it's been about helping the clients, that not the ones that are looking for like the $1 million homes, but the ones who are like trying to get into their first home, or struggling to be able to afford to get into a home. So that's been almost kind of like this whole new mission in life. I had no idea that it would be anything related to what I'm doing now, but it really has been, and that's been really cool. But in my writing, in my writing world, I am actually currently working on a journal for single women that I'm really excited
Oh,
about.
cool.
The goal is mean, we'll see if it happens. I'm trying to get it out by around Valentine's Day-ish, but I've never done anything like it before. I actually just stepped away from my publisher after the release of my last book and kind of decided to venture out on my own. And just kind of had started to feel like I was in a little bit of a box and just not really able to kind of be me as much as I would like to be
Right.
in my work and in my writing. And so I am, yeah, my first project that I'm working on my own is a journal for single women. And I don't think there's anything else like it. I'm excited about it because I always encourage people to, to write their own story boldly, as I've written mine over the course of 6 books. And this will give people the opportunity to do that. It will include, inspirational readings and writing prompts and quotes and all sorts of fun things. And I think it's going to be just a really cool project. So I'm excited about that. And then I also have potentially a new book in the works. I really want to write a book about friendship and just
Oh, awesome.
explore adult friendships, because I feel like, I saw a Twitter stream the other day of, just ladies talking about how, does anyone have any advice for how to find your people, especially when you're in your 40s? Is it too late? Can I still find my tribe? And it just seems like there's so much loneliness out there right now. I think the pandemic we were already isolated as a culture, and then the
Right.
pandemic just isolated us even further. And I think it for me too, even it broke a lot of connections. It was very detrimental to friendships and community and togetherness. And so I think people are feeling more isolated and alone than ever. And so I love the idea of exploring, friendship, loneliness, togetherness, building community, connecting with your people. So yeah, that's a project that I'll have coming up at some point. No definitive time frame, but I'm just kind of starting to work on the ideas now.
Yeah, I love the idea of journaling. I think it's really important. And when we write things down, we can remember them, because when you get to my age, sometimes it's harder to remember some of those little
Same.
like nuanced things that happened, during your life or during a period
Right.
of time. And now I'm like, oh, what did that happen?
Yeah.
Anyways, so yeah, having a journal out there for somebody to write in is awesome. That's really great. And we've also talked about having people have a gratitude journal.
I love
Um,
it.
so
Yeah. I actually just helped my parents move a couple of months ago. They downsized, and I had a ton of my stuff in their attic and in different storage nooks and crannies. And I came across multiple journals that I had written throughout different periods of my life. And it was so fascinating to go back and read, the things that I was struggling with, the things I was excited about. And so I do think, like you said, I think journaling, it really is so important. And I don't always have time to do it.
sure.
But in hindsight, when I go back and read things that I wrote, 20 years ago in high school, or, 30 years ago in high school, or 10 years ago, or, just these different eras of my life, it's so eye-opening to see, like, oh my gosh, I thought this was like the biggest thing ever, and I thought it was just going to make me miserable forever. And I don't even remember what I was so sad about when I was writing this. So yeah, I'm excited about creating something that will give people the opportunity to do that, because I do think it's just so important to kind of understanding your journey and processing where you've been and why certain things have happened, and even figuring out where you want to go.
Yeah. Love that you're opening up to the world and really sharing the light. I agree. You said everything is in the eyes, and I totally believe that.
Yeah.
We say an awful lot with our eyes.
Yeah.
So Mandy, near the end of our podcast, we have what we call the double down dose. So I'll have a question, and then Jason has the second question of double down dose. So the first one is, how would you define hope?
Oh gosh, hope. Well, that's a big question. Gosh, I think for me, I have been through a really dark couple of years. We all have. and this is a whole other, conversation for a different day, but just my parents have been battling some health issues and over the last couple of years, and there were days when I was just kind of struggling to survive, like to just keep my head above water. But I remember there was this one day when everything had just been really dark and sad and scary for a while. And it snowed, and I live here in Tennessee, and that's relatively unusual. I mean, we usually get 1 or 2 snows a year, but this particular day, I remember it was so quiet, and it was an unexpected snow. So nobody was out. Everybody, stays home when there's one snowflake. So I just remember taking a walk through the snow, and it was just so quiet and peaceful, and the snow is falling. And I just started crying because I was like, this is, I've just been struggling to survive. But like this moment is a reminder that there are beautiful things that will come again, and maybe not right now. But there are beautiful things in my future, and there are beautiful snowy days, and there are babies laughing, and there are people falling in love, and there are, purring kitties. And there are so many joyful, wonderful things that are still there waiting for me. And that beautiful snowy day just reminded me of that. So I guess that's kind of my way of finding hope, just in those little moments, those little reminders, that, hey, all is not lost. Today might feel really, really dark, but tomorrow is a whole new day. So yeah, I think that's probably, I don't know if that really defines hope, but that's what it looks like for me.
It's beautiful.
I love it. Yeah. I think it's your view of it, and that's perfect in and of itself. So thanks for sharing that. So the second question of the double down dose is, what is your definition of love?
Love. My parents have been together for, oh my gosh, almost 50 years, I guess. And just watching them take care of each other, as they've both been struggling with health issues. My dad in particular, has the way he takes care of my mom. It's like the epitome to me of unconditional love, and in sickness and in health, for better or for worse. Just watching them be there, support one another, carry each other, walk with each other, and somehow in the midst of, the darkness, manage to find a few laughs along the way. For me, just watching them and seeing just the unconditional nature of their relationship, and just taking care of each other. That's become my new standard for love. Because, I am still single, and I'm 44, and again, wasn't the plan. But there's been days when I've thought, well, maybe maybe if I'm, I'll be okay. If I stay single for the rest of my life, I'll be okay. But then I see, my mom and dad, and I think about later in life, okay, well, when I am alone, even if it's not something as big and scary as a health issue, just being alone and just having that person to walk with you shoulder to shoulder and have your back and stand with you come what may. That's what love looks like for me now. If you had asked me 3 years ago, I would have had a very grand, flashy answer, probably having to do with Hallmark movies and Disney and Cinderella and princes and glass slippers and all that. And now it's just being there for each other, just showing up, holding each other up, having each other's back, carrying each other through. That's love to me.
I love how you answered both of those, because really, if you think about it, you tied them into relationships. The first one being with ourselves, mm-hmm. and then the second with others around us. And I just love getting perspective. So if you don't follow Mandy on social media, I would highly encourage you to do so. Jump on the Mandy train. Find her on every social media platform. You can search The Single Woman, but just a pleasure to speak with you today, Mandy. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you guys so much. It's been a joy.
Yeah, appreciate your time.
Absolutely. Anytime.